Abeokuta, the capital city of the Gateway State. Come smash 88.1 FM news at noon.
Good afternoon. This is the World News at 12 on 88.1 Smash FM. I am Adeboye Oluwafemi. First, the headlines. Labour insists on protest as Tinubu okays 500 billion naira palliative. NANS and ASU disagree as federal government holds fee hike. Ohaneze Ndigbo tells Igbos to condemn EPA's order. Atiku in court as tribunal adopts written addresses. 83 persons die, 836 infected as diphtheria spreads. On the foreign scene, France to begin evacuation for its citizens, EU nationals in Niger. In business, NCC plans blocking stolen SIMs in 5 minutes. And in sport, Rasmus Højlund set to undergo medical at Manchester United today. Details coming up shortly. And now the news in details. The organized labor has said it will hold its planned nationwide protest on Wednesday despite the Monday rollout of subsidy removal palliative plans by President Bola Tinubu. Tinubu had a national broadcast unveiled 500 billion naira palliative for manufacturers, small businesses and farmers. He also released plans to increase salaries and acquire 3,000 mass transit buses. Notwithstanding the president's last-minute move to advance the protest, the Nigeria Labour Congress President Joe Ajero said the rally would hold in line with its schedule. Ajero spoke shortly after talks between the organized labor and the federal government on Monday became inconclusive. The talk is expected to resume on Tuesday today. The Presidential Steering Committee on Palliative meeting between the government and labor was held at the Aso Rock Villa in Abuja. Ajero alleged that fears that the peaceful protest could be taken over by hoodlums, saying that such had never happened in any of its workers' protests. He said security agencies were responsible for safeguarding workers in such exercises. The meeting of the steering committee was, however, adjourned till 12 p.m. today. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Monday directed the authorities and all federal institutions of higher learning to avoid arbitrary increase in some-dry fees payable and where possible defer further increase so that parents and students don't face too much difficulty. While the National Association of Nigerian Students welcomed the directive, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, however, expressed reservations. The president, in a statement by Special Advisor on Special Duties, Communications and Strategy, Dele Alake, also approved the provision of buses to the student bodies of all universities, polytechnics and colleges of education across the country. The directive comes barely 5 days after the presidency insisted that federal universities remain tuition-free despite a hike in miscellaneous fees in several universities nationwide. Former Vice President and presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, is presently at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal in Abuja. The tribunal is expected to adopt the written addresses in the two petitions left before it. The presidential candidate of the PDP and Labour Party counterpart, Peter Obi, adding their separate petitions, prayed the court to challenge the declaration of Bola Tinubu as the winner of the February 25th presidential election. It will be recalled that the court on July 5th concluded its hearing on both Atiku and Obi's petitions. The President General of the Ohaneze Ndigbo Worldwide, Chief Engineer Emmanuel Iwayawo, has condemned the incessant calls for sit-at-home by Samuel Ekpa on after Mazen Nnamdi Kanu had asked him to stop the calls. This is as Iwuanyanwu ordered all sit-at-home in Igbo land to be discontinued and called Simon Ekpa and his group for the discussion to air their grievances. Iwuanyanwu made the call in a statement that he signed and made available to newsmen by Dr. Chidozie Alex Ogbonaya, the National Publicity Secretary of Ohanaeze Ndigbo. Ohanaeze Ndigbo, however, noted that over 250 persons are estimated to have lost their lives through the enforcement of the sit-at-home order. The National Primary Healthcare Development Agency says Nigeria has recorded 83 deaths and 836 confirmed cases of diphtheria since the beginning of this year. Executive Director NPHCDA Faisal Shoaib said this on Monday in Abuja during a news briefing on the diphtheria outbreak response. Shoaib said despite the effort of the federal government to provide safe and cost-effective vaccines for diphtheria, a significant number of children remain unvaccinated or partially vaccinated, thereby compromising the country's goal of achieving population immunity. He said a response to the ongoing diphtheria outbreak will be carried out in 2 phases. You're still listening to The World News at 12 on 88.1 Smash FM. More stories to come on the foreign scene in business, sport and entertainment. Stay with us.
After you don't stop to work for a long time, your office can call you, say them go give you 10 times your salary if you come back. Nah, so Airtel they do like this, so just go activate that your old Airtel line, recharge any amount, come dial *234*7# and Airtel go sama you 10 times bonus. Just imagine waiting you fit use 10 times your recharge do nah.
Airtel, a reason to.
Yes, the Alert 545 promo is here again. Now, even more explosive than ever before. Over 90 million naira to be won. You can't afford to miss this season of excitement. To qualify, fund your account with 5,000 naira. Maintain an average account balance of at least 5,000 naira monthly. Make a minimum of 5 transactions monthly on Alert or *945#. And just like that, you could be 1 million naira richer. So, download Alert today or transact without internet on *945# anytime, anywhere. Terms and conditions apply. Wema Bank, with you all the way.
Number 1001 reason to love Golden Penny pasta. It's rich in protein. Number 1002 contains fiber. Number 1003 it tastes great.
Number 1004
You see, there are many reasons to love Golden Penny pasta. It gives that delicious taste with good nutrients. So go ahead, enjoy Golden Penny pasta and find more reasons to love it. Golden Penny pasta, great taste, good nutrition.
You're welcome back. You're still listening to The World News at 12 on 88.1 Smash FM. Now moving on to the foreign side. On the foreign scene, the French Foreign Ministry has said plans to evacuate French citizens are on the way in the West African state of Niger, days after President Mohamed Bazoum was overthrown by members of his presidential guard. Former colonial power France has had troops in the region for a decade helping to fight an Islamic insurgency, but some locals say they went to the former colonial ruler to stop intervening in their affairs. On Sunday, supporters of the junta burned French flags and attacked the French embassy in the Niger's capital, Niamey, prompting police to fire volleys of tear gas in response. French Foreign Minister Catherine Colonna told news agencies on late on Monday that protests in the front of the embassy and the ensuing accusations that France shot at the crowd, which it denied have all the usual ingredient of destabilization, the Russian African way. The Kremlin said on Monday that the situation in Niger was cause for serious concern and called for a swift return to constitutional order. At least 16 construction workers were killed and several others fared trapped after a crane collapsed during a building during the building of a bridge in India. Footage showed the mangled remains of the equipment on the ground as rescue workers pulled out bodies and searched for survivors at a site in Shahapur, about 50 miles from Mumbai in the western state of Maharashtra. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed his condolences in a message on X, the social media platform formerly known as Twitter. His government announced relief assistance of 200,000 rupees, which is approximately £1,894 for the families of the dead, and 50,000 rupees, which is about £474 for the injured. And finally, on the foreign scene, at least 11 people have died in Beijing after one of the strongest storms to hit the country in years. Dozens more are missing in the Chinese capital due to days of heavy rainfall brought by the remnant of Typhoon Doksuri, which has turned roads into rivers. It has caused widespread flooding in northern China and forced tens of thousands of people to evacuate in several cities, including Beijing. As of Monday night, the city had closed over 100 roads, suspended some underground and overground rail services, and evacuated more than 52,000 people from their homes. Though the storm is weakening as it moves inland, authorities have warned there is a risk of further flooding. And now, standing by for the business and sport news is Afola Shade Ogungbamila. Stay tuned.
And now in business, the Nigerian Communications Commission has proposed that the time taken to block the subscriber's identity model SIM of a reported stolen phone should be reduced from 30 minutes to 5 minutes. This was disclosed during the 3-day public inquiries of 6 regulatory instruments at the Commission in Abuja. While presenting the draft quality of the Service Business Rules, the Deputy Director, Technical Standards and Network Integrity Department, Edoyemi Ogo, noted that this amendment was being made. He said according to the proposed amendment, once a phone was reported and confirmed stolen, the service provider will be required to block such a line within 5 minutes. He said the reason for the amendment of the entire regulation was to catch up with the changes in the technological space and stay up to date with what was happening in the industry. According to him, the essence was to ensure that subscribers got value for their money. The Central Bank of Nigeria has exempted primary mortgage banks and microfinance banks that provide banking services to the poor from its cash withdrawal limits. It gave this directive in a circular released on Monday to banks and other financial institutions, which was signed by the Director, Payment System Management Department, Musa Jimo. The circular was titled Exemption of Primary Mortgage Banks and Microfinance Banks from Cash Withdrawal Limits. It stated that the Central Bank of Nigeria hereby directs the exemption of microfinance banks and primary mortgage banks that provide banking services to the economically active poor from paying the processing fees for withdrawal above the cash withdrawal limit for direct cash withdrawals from their corresponding banks. This is to enable them continue to play their expected roles in the economy and provide specialized retail banking service to their customers. And now in sport, Denmark superstar Rasmus Højlund is expected to travel to England today to undergo his medical at Manchester United ahead of his move to the club from Atalanta. The Red Devils agreed a £72 million deal with Atlanta on Sunday, following numerous back and forth discussions between the two clubs. The 20-year-old was also linked to PSG this summer, but decided to join Manchester United on a 5-year contract after agreeing personal terms with the club. Saudi Pro League side Al Hilal have reportedly made a eye-watering £120.3 million offer to Napoli for their star striker Victor Osimhen. The Arabian side wants to continue their pursuit of bringing top talents in the world to the country by offering Napoli an offer they can't reject. Osimhen was previously linked to Manchester United and PSG this summer. However, interest from both clubs appear to have cooled due to interest in other targets. According to reports, if Napoli decides to part way with Osimhen, the Super Eagles forward is expected to earn £1 million per week at Al Hilal. And finally in sport, British heavyweight boxer Dave Harlan has hinted that Tyson Fury should be stripped of his titles after agreeing to fight Francis Ngannou in October. The Gypsy King currently holds the WBC belt and is recognized as the lineal champion after defeating long-reigning heavyweight king Vladimir Klitschko in 2015. Fury was meant to face Oleksandr Usyk in an undisputed bout earlier this year, but talks broke down between both camps after Fury demanded a 70-30 split of money. Allen, in an interview with the media, said he understands Fury's reason for taking the bout, but says he does not expect it to be a competitive fight. And that's all in business and sport news. Back to Adeboye Oluwafemi for the rest of the bulletin.
And finally, in entertainment, Nollywood Yoruba actor Musiliu Ajikonle, popularly known as Buffalo, has died. The actor, who has been down with stroke for over 7 years, has reportedly passed away. According to reports, Musiliu Akinsoya passed away in his sleep on Sunday night. His son confirmed the news to blog, as well as revealed that his father had been laid to rest according to Muslim rites. The news of his demise has come just a few weeks after philanthropist clergyman Pastor Gabriel raised over 3 million naira for his medical expenses. In case you have any news story you want us to cover, you can send us a message via our email on news@smash881fm.ng or send a text message to 0818-851-0881. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram at Smash881FM. Please note, kindly prioritize your safety and follow the instructions of local authorities. Evacuate to higher ground if necessary and avoid areas prone to flooding. Stay informed through official channels for updates and emergency information. Together we can overcome this challenge and ensure the well-being of our community. Stay safe. And that's the news at noon on Smash 88.1. I am Adeboye Oluwafemi.